morning, class. Today we're going to learn about observations and inferences. Observations you do with your senses, your five senses. That's why I remind you by putting the O in observation and making it a face. Our five senses are sight, smell, taste, hearing, and of course touch. When we make observations with our five senses, we sometimes want to be more accurate. We do this by using tools that help us to measure. So here are three tools that you might think of when you're measuring: a thermometer, a graduated cylinder, and of course a ruler. These are still observations. They help us to get data. Everybody's favorite word. What I want you to think of when you think of data is numbers. Numbers. Charts, calculators, numbers. After you get all your data, it may lead you to what we call as an inference. An inference. I think this is going to happen. That's why we use the F for future. Anytime something didn't happen, it must be an inference. We don't know what's going to happen. We can predict. An inference is a prediction. And C for conclusion. Sometimes it's what we conclude after we do all of our observations. You guys have been scientists since you were little kids. I know this because I have two young children. They ask me questions all the time, which is how we start the scientific method. They'll ask me, do you think this will float? What do? They put it in water and they see if it'll float. Sometimes my older son, he'll ask me, which charger should I use if I want to sit on my bed and play with my iPhone? He might have to measure. He might need a tool, a ruler. That would be making an observation. And then, of course, his conclusion, his answer would be his inference. Sometimes they ask me about nature. What is this? They do some research. They make some observations. They use their senses. My younger son, he might say, Mom, how far can I make this car go? What does he do? He makes some observations, and then he makes an inference. He does an experiment, and then he comes up with his conclusion. Okay. So I want to talk a little bit about what our observations can be. Well, if I were to look at these flowers and I said, they smell good, that's an observation. If I said they are 6 inches, that's an observation. If I wanted to look at my coffee, and you said it's 12 milliliters, you would have to measure it. Now, if we were in class, I would not be measuring my coffee in a measuring cup, but I would use a graduated cylinder. I'm just using things in my kitchen. Sometimes we use tests. Just got a pool, really excited about it. I have this nice test. I perform a test. Let's say the pool looks a little green, which actually it does a little bit today. Check my levels, okay? And then those help me to guide my observations. And what I come up with at the end of the day is my inference. I think I will be adding some shock to my pool because after doing my observations and my tests, I have found that there is not enough chlorine in there. Okay. So I think we know the difference between these words. I'm going to hold up another item. Okay, this is the scale. Okay, we use a triple beam balance in class. But if I were to want to measure something, okay, I put it on the scale. And of course, that would be an observation. Okay, I might make an inference that this is heavy, but not until I do my observations can I make a more accurate or a better conclusion to my scientific problems that I encourage you to explore every single day.